For the most dedicated among us, those of us with a strong desire to serve, now's the time to break free of all the things that's making Agile stink right now. Time for you to ditch the employee mindset. That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast.
Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams.
My friend, great to see you. Appreciate you tuning in, checking out the show every week. There's something happening in the Agile universe that creeps me out a little. And it feels like we've taken this beautiful thing that we have, this opportunity to serve in a new and interesting way, and we've turned it into an employee rule book. Let me tell you what I mean, but first let's take a moment to remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources out there about what you need to do to be agile, but we're focused on who you need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a truly unique and powerful force in this industry. And if this helps you, don't forget to share this episode with your friends. Now, all you have to do is cruise around the halls of LinkedIn, especially LinkedIn, and start reading the blogs and the opinions that people post about anything to do with Agile. There's a war going on out there, but it doesn't feel like it's a war worth fighting, to be honest with you. What I see instead is people bickering and fighting and explaining and using up what must be an awful lot of their time, describing what will make Agile pleasing to our corporate bosses. You know what I mean? People talking about good and bad Agile as measured by what the big boss thinks, or the latest trend in Agile, whether that be some framework about how to have conversations, how to empathize with other people, how to lead and influence teams. But they're all very much aimed at the middle of the road. The stuff that we talk about and argue for doesn't seem like it's the kind of stuff that will move the needle. It's more prescriptive list of the top 10 ways you can make your teams more high-performing, but if you really dig into it, these tips won't make them high-performing at all. It'll make them average. They'll be following and abiding the rules. They'll be ticking all the boxes for what makes an AI-generated list of a good employee. But they seem to have lost that adventurer spirit. Here's something I've learned over doing the Forge over the past, I don't know how many years at this point. Agile people are all impact people. They're doing this thing because at the end of the day, it's not that they're tied to any one programming language or technology or kind of product or service or even industry. It's because they want to help good people do things better. I truly believe that many of us want to help make work better too, maybe more balanced, maybe making work more humane. And sometimes, if we really stretch, we could even make people more autonomous, more confident, more assertive, who knows? Maybe we could teach everyone we meet how to bring their best ideas forward, to be fearless and bold in their thinking. Maybe we could teach them how to make their ideas heard. Maybe instead of teaching each other how to follow some kind of policy book or even the Scrum Guide itself, maybe we could focus on teaching teams how to add more value in their everyday work. Maybe we could help clients color outside the boxes a little, invent new things, make it easier to test and validate great ideas. But a lot of the stuff that I see out there seems to be focused on, well, maybe we shouldn't always write on the right-hand side of the whiteboard first because that's offensive to left-handed people. We seem to be overtly focused on making everyone happy all the time. The reality is, this thing that we're trying to do, to allow our customers and clients to bring cool, valuable stuff to the people who will pay for it. Here's what I think. We should be focused on helping our clients, companies, bring those great ideas to life for the customers who want them and who will pay for them. And if we can help our clients do that so that they remain competitive, so that they remain profitable, that's a great win. I think the biggest thing that Agile did for me was teach me that whether you're in software development or not, this cool thing we've been doing for the past couple of decades allows us to be of service. And what that service is never clearly defined. There is no rule book. We've got 12 simple principles. Among them is the principle of simplicity itself. Stop overcomplicating things. Boil it down to the fundamentals. Our job here is to help our clients or our companies hit home runs more frequently, more easily, and maybe even more cost-effectively. What's wrong with that? I sometimes say that maybe there's no point in scaling at all, because in order to scale it to every part of the organization, you have to make everyone who bumps into Agile somehow pleasant and acceptable. And you know what? Agile, when people first meet it, might be a little scared, might be a little resistant. I know I was. I remember sitting there like a big old grump, thinking, what do you mean I got to move? I got a great view out my window. I don't want to go in the team room. There's no windows in the team room. So I literally had to be dragged. Like most things in my life, if I want to learn an important lesson, I usually have to learn it the hard way. I wasn't ready. And a lot of times, our clients won't be ready either. And there really is no rule book for simply kicking back and saying, let's do what we do. Let's create some impact. Let's do something beautiful in our little corner of the world over here. We'll figure out how to scale it and grow it later, or maybe never. That's a possibility too. But so much of modern life is about pleasing the algorithm, whether that's a social media algorithm, whether that's the way that we interact with our governments and our banks, etc., all the way to the policies that HR sets for us. To be a renegade, to be a badass, you have to be willing to bend or break the rules sometimes. Don't forget, you got to have a little bit of Dirty Harry or Dirty Harriet in you. Somebody who's willing to look at the status quo and say this is a status quo for a reason, because it's easy, because it's simple, because it doesn't rock the boat, because it doesn't make anyone uncomfortable. But there's more at stake. And I only say this, by the way, because people keep asking, what's next? What do I do now? I spent all this money on Agile certifications, and I'm worried there isn't going to be a future. And worse still, when we hear about Agile being a failed experiment, because of the way we landed it within organizations, we brought it in, we didn't prepare the people who were investing in it, that is to say the executives, the leadership, or even just the business partners, and show them what's required to do it well. And if we did try and show them, maybe they didn't listen. So many times I see people asking of the Agile community, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to say here? What's the right way to blank? The thing about being in an experimental environment is that there is no right way. Aside from a couple of traditional do's and don'ts, if the path were clear and repeatable, you wouldn't need us. You wouldn't need someone to guide you through the unknown, through experimentation and iteration and continuous improvement. And those simple, wonderful things that we believe all require that you're willing to operate without a net. And sometimes I think that's one quality that's never really been embossed into the Agile training that we give to our leaders and the Agile processes that we use every day. There's nothing Agile about questions like, what's the right way to split a story in Jira? As we all know, the tools don't make you Agile. The frameworks or the processes don't make you Agile. It's what you're able to do with these philosophies that counts. The value, the results, the outcomes, the impact. So when you're thinking about how to practice Agile in the future, and when you're talking to other practitioners about Agile, ask yourself, are you stuck trying to be good, trying to be right, trying to find the one way to do this well? I believe the truth is there is no one way to do it well. The fun part is figuring out what works for you, for your team, for the company, and for the clients they serve. I think that will always be different. So there's no points for your ability to follow the rule book, to fit into a traditional mold, to create more rigidity, more rule worshiping, more guidebooks in an environment where what we do should be the opposite of the word rigidity itself. Nimble, flexible, fast, willing to discover, and willing to fail. I get it. Those things don't fit into the traditional employee mindset, the people-pleasing mindset. But I don't believe that's what we're here to do. Do you? I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it gives you something to think about. As always, you can find me at badassagile.com. Don't forget to look for me on social media. I look forward to seeing you next time, and until then, stay badass.